So as we get comfortable, just kind of settling in for, as we said, a moment or two to de-stress and to just allow ourselves to be still and get centered. So as you settle in here, just checking in and getting comfy. And of course, if you prefer to sit, then that works too. Taking a comfortable seat. So let's start out with just a few rounds of intentional breathing to kind of set the tone to relax the nervous system. So closing the eyes and starting to quiet down the senses. And taking a nice big breath and expanding that low belly first on the inhale. So breathing into the low belly and then the chest, like you're filling up a bottle of water from the bottom to the top. We fill up the torso with air from the bottom first. Then we breathe into the chest and then a big long exhale. And again, breathing in through the nose, taking a nice big belly breath. Big inhale, expanding the chest, and then a big long exhale. Allowing the body to settle into a place of stillness. And just noticing any sensations that might be present in the physical body this morning. So check in with the head and noticing any sensations in the head overall, in the eyes and the ears. Check in with the forehead and the temples, especially. Notice any sensations in the jaw, the mouth. Just noticing how the neck is feeling. Maybe even just turning the head side to side, nice and slow. And just noticing any areas of tightness or tension or resistance. And then noticing also those areas that feel soft and there's ease of movement there. And just finding a comfortable place in the middle to rest the head. And check in with the placement of the shoulders and just noticing if the shoulders are kind of scrunched up towards the ears or are they kind of down and soft. Checking in and maybe just noticing any places of tension this morning or habitual tension where you might regularly kind of lock up. Check out the arms, the elbows, the wrists. Come back to the center of the body and just noticing the throat, any sensations in the throat, and moving down to the chest. Noticing the heartbeat. Noticing the rise and the fall of the belly. Any sensations to check in with here in the front of the body, the front of the torso. And then coming around to the back body and just checking out all the muscles in the back. Checking out the low back, the hips. Scrolling down the legs, the knees, the ankles, all the way down to the feet. Just resting here in stillness and in silence. The silence brings us back to basics, back to our senses. Without silence and stillness, we sometimes can go so far away from our true nature that we end up quite literally besides ourselves. In the silence, we discover ourselves, our actual presence to the life in us and around us. When we are present and deeply attentive, cannot be busy controlling. True presence requires that we be attentive to what is happening here and now. And this presence is an offering of our awareness, our participation, and our willingness. Silence and stillness can sometimes be challenging, but by being present moment to moment, We may discern the richness of silence in ourselves and in each other and in each moment. Just breathing here. And on each exhale, letting something go. Each exhale, let someplace soften. And as we sit or lie in stillness, we notice all the thoughts that pop up, our to-do lists, and we can just give ourselves permission to let it all go and to just breathe and surrender the body down to rest. So we'll start to bring some movement in, wiggling the fingers and the toes. And just kind of sliding that bolster or the pillow that you have underneath you, whatever support you have, just kind of sliding it off to the side a bit. And we'll start hugging the knees into the chest and rocking side to side. Just see how that low back is feeling this morning, and hopefully you have a strap nearby. And we'll start out making some circles. Just kind of massaging the low back here. Switching it up, circle the other way, and maybe the eyes are still closed and just kind of checking in with that circle that you're drawing on the mat with the low back here. Relaxing the nervous system as we just kind of gently massage the lumbar spine here. So we'll bring our feet flat to the floor, and we'll bring our feet to the outer edges of the mat, and I'm going to shimmy my shoulder blades underneath my back and stretch those arms out to the side and let my arms just rest here, palms face up. And I'll start windshield wipering those legs side to side. Start waking up the front of the hips and the thighs. And then when you come over to the right, just holding those legs, letting them just kind of drop over to the right. And I'm gonna just gently turn on that left glute and push that left hip bone forward. And turning the head to the left, get a little stretch, a little twist here. And take a few breaths here into the left side of the ribs and the left low belly. The hands are just kind of open and soft, and see if you can relax the shoulders and the jaw. And then switch it up, windshield wiper side to side. And then this time dropping the legs over to the left. Head turns right. Again, I'm going to deepen it by just kind of turning on and gently squeezing that right glute and sending that right hip forward. Right knee draws away from the body. Take a few breaths here. Take intentional breath into the low belly first and then the chest. Breathing in and out through the nose throughout our practice to send that signal to the brain to shut off the stress response. To switch over to relaxation mode to rest and digest. And then release back to center, windshield wiper side to side. So we're going to do a little core work to get started here. Something we haven't done in a while. We're going to do our eagle core work while we're lying down. So I'm going to start hugging both knees into the chest, and then I'm going to cross my right leg over the left. So you can do your core work here. We'll start, I'm going to just relax my arms back, and my arms are bent in cactus, but you can stretch them out or wherever it feels comfortable. So I'm going to make sure to pull my belly down to the spine the whole time to protect my low back. And then I'm just going to let those toes kind of tap down to the ground and then hug the knees back in. So it's really just my left foot tapping that toe down, hugging the knees back in. So we're working lower abdominals here, and we're pulling the belly into the spine. And our lower body is in eagle. So you can stay here if you'd like to, just clasp those hands back behind the head, and then lift the head, neck, and shoulders up to meet that right knee when you come up. And then you let everything come down. Great, take a big breath in, stretch it out. And then third option, so you can do just lower body. You can incorporate the upper body here with the hands behind the head. And if you want to do your full eagle, that the arms will come out to the side, and then we'll just wrap that right arm underneath the left. So my arms are twisted. And then I'll bring those knees to the elbow as I curl in. Release down. Exhale, elbow to knees. So your choice, you can do just lower body. You can do lower body with the hands behind the head. Or most challenging would be our full eagle pose. And then release. Feet come flat on the floor, knees are bent. And just take a few big breaths here, opening the body and breathing into the belly. Big long exhale. Big long exhale again. So we're going to switch sides now. So this time I'll cross that left leg over the right. And then again, your choice. If you want to work just the lower body, tapping that right toe down to the floor. And we exhale when we hug those knees in. We breathe in when the body is long and open. And then again, second option would be to kind of curl up, lifting the head, neck, and shoulders to meet that knee. Release down. And then final option, to come into eagle arms. My arms are spread nice and wide. And I'll cross that left arm under the right. And my hands are just above the top of my head. And then I'll exhale, curl elbow to knee into eagle. Inhale back down. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale back down. So 2 more here. Our eagle pose when we have our body all twisted up like a pretzel. It's believed that we can help to kind of wring out our body of toxins and waste, just like a sponge. So stretch everything out big and long. Stretch the legs out, point the toes. Big stretch with the arms overhead. Take a few big belly breaths. We'll open everything up. Big exhale. And then hugging both knees into the chest, rocking side to side. We'll come into a happy baby here. Feet come up into the air. So rocking, if that feels good. We're just holding it in stillness again. And maybe the eyes are still closed while we're here. And then we'll release out. And we'll come into a little inversion. So grabbing your block. And of course, if you don't have a block, you don't have to use one. So if you are using one, we're going to lift those hips up into bridge pose and slide that block underneath the tailbone. And then I'm going to hug one knee in and then the other. Stretch those legs up in the air. So I'm going to shimmy those shoulder blades underneath the back again, lift and open the chest, and just start to point and flex the feet here. So take a few breaths in and out through the nose, and let that excess fluid drain from the feet and the legs back to the center of the body. Letting the lymphatic fluid come back towards the center of the body, and just kind of shaking up and refiltering everything. Circle those ankles here. Lubricating the ankle joints. Switch it up and circle the opposite direction. And then just bending and straightening at the knees. Beautiful. Just holding those legs up and shaking everything out here. Shaking the legs. Let those ankles go. And then just hold. Let's bring those arms up in the air and circle the wrists while we're here. Both directions, lubricating the wrist joints now with synovial fluid. And take a few big breaths here. And then we'll hug that left knee into the chest, right leg stays up in the air, flexing that right foot, and then nice and slow, we'll start to lower that right leg down. And we'll let that right leg hover off the floor when we get a little bit closer. Making sure to pull the belly down to the spine here. And then we'll relax that right leg down. Left foot comes down now. And then big stretch. Left arm reaches overhead, pointing the right toes. So we're working opposite sides of the brain here. Working the right leg and the left arm. Connecting the right and left side of the brain. Take a few big belly breaths here. And then release it back to center, hugging both knees back into the chest. Getting comfortable. And I'm going to hug my right knee this time. Left leg stretches up. Flexing that left foot. And then nice and low, slow, lowering that left leg down. Pulling the belly into the spine. And let that left leg just hover a few inches off the floor. Left foot is flexed here, so we're activating the muscles in the left leg. Using the belly here. Core muscles. And then release that left leg, relaxes down. Right foot also comes down to the ground, and then inhale, stretch that right arm overhead. Reaching with the right hand and pointing those left toes. Take a few big breaths here. And then releasing back to center. So I'm just going to bend that left leg and have it come in to meet the right. I'm going to shimmy my feet as close to my block as I can get it, and lifting up into bridge pose. Lift those hips, just sliding that block off to the side. Exhale, release the spine back down to the ground, and rock it side to side. So we'll come into our hip stretches next. Finding your strap here. Hooking both legs up into the strap, and let's start out just making some tiny circles here. Once again, we're just massaging that low back. Maybe the eyes are still closed. And then circle it up and switch the up and circle the opposite direction. Just kind of waking up those hamstrings and noticing any spots in the back where there might be tension. And then just rocking it left to right. So let's kind of rock over to that right hip. So my left hip is off the floor, flexing the feet here, really pushing those heels away. I'm balancing on that right hip, so I'm pulling my belly into my spine. And then release and just kind of rock left to right again. Massaging that low back. And then this time coming over onto the left hip. Flex the feet, push those heels away. Right hip is off the floor and the legs are off to a diagonal. And then release back to center, rock side to side. So let's come into our first hip stretch, into our figure four, crossing that left leg over the right knee. And then using that strap for leverage, but if you don't have a strap or you prefer not to, hands clasp back behind that right thigh. So just holding it here and drawing that right leg in closer to the body. Left elbow gently pushing that left knee away from the body if you want to go a little deeper. Maybe you don't need to. So holding it here, you can rock or sway. If that feels good, you can circle that right leg. And then just like we did a moment ago, coming over onto that right hip and just let those legs come off to the diagonal to the right a little bit. So my foot's at like maybe 1 o'clock. And I'm using core but muscles here, pulling the belly in to help me balance. And still flexing that right foot, pushing that right heel away. And then release back to center. We'll switch sides. Left foot comes in the strap. Right foot crosses over figure four. So same thing here. You're circling or rocking or just resting in stillness as you draw that left leg in closer to the body. A few rounds of intentional breath. Relax the shoulders and the jaw. Relax all the muscles in the face if there's any gripping or tension. And then just kind of rolling over onto that left hip, going off onto a diagonal just a bit. Maybe the right arm is pushing that right knee away. And then release, come back to center. Both feet come back into the strap and we'll open those legs to a V. Nice soft knees here. And I'm really gonna try and push my heels up towards the sky and flex my feet, pointing toes towards the nose. So see if you can just kind of relax that grip, any tightness in the hands. Let go as much as you can, just soften it a bit. And then maybe the eyes are still closed and rocking or swaying feels good. Or maybe you just want to hold it in stillness. So taking a few rounds of intentional breath here. And then we'll release and bring those feet back together. We'll drop that strap off to the side. And we're going to make our way up to all fours. So your choice if you'd like to just roll gently onto the side and push up, or if you want to come with me, hands behind the knees, do some spinal rocking. And then when you come up, we'll just do a little break here in our modified boat pose. Pulling the belly into the spine, relax those shoulders. And then option to release the hands. You can stay here. You can also straighten the legs. Pull that belly in and make sure you're breathing. And then release. The feet come down. We'll bring the bottoms of the feet together. Big tall stretch here. And then exhale, forward fold. Once again, coming into the outer hips, inner thighs. And then coming back up, we'll come into a little twist. Inhaling both arms up, twisting to the right. So left hand is on the right knee. And my right fingertips are on the floor back behind me. And if you have a hard time reaching the floor, you could just kind of twist open to the right with that arm back up too. Inhale back to center. And exhale, twisting to the left. Relax those shoulders down away from the ears. Take a breath or two here. And then release, come back to center. I'm going to straighten the legs out front. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me. We're going to come into an upward plank here. So your hands can be pointing towards the edge of the mat, pointing down towards your toes. If that doesn't feel right for your wrists and you need to turn out a little bit to the side, feel free to do whatever feels safe, knowing your own wrists. So I'm going to make sure I activate my core here. And we're going to point those toes and lift the hips up off the ground. So if it's available for the neck, you can look straight up towards the sky. Any issues with vertigo or neck issues, keep the head up for safety. Take a few big breaths here. So we're building bone, the upper body here. And then exhale, release those hips down, big stretch up, and exhale, forward fold. You could always use your strap here around the feet. You could grab for those big toes, the yogi toe hold. You can have the arms on the floor, alongside those legs. Take a breath or two here. And then release, coming back up. And just roll those shoulders back and down. And then roll them forward. So we lubricated the ankle joints, the wrist joints, and now the shoulder joints, just gently circling. And we're going to make our way next up to hands and knees. So take your time. I'll give a quick check and make sure everybody looks okay. All right, good. So let's start out with a little cat-cow. Wrists are directly underneath the shoulders. Breathing into the back bend. Exhale, curling and arching the back. Few rounds here, breathing in and out through the nose. So let your breath guide you rather than your brain tell your body what to do. When you're ready to breathe in, come into a little baby back bend. And then whenever you're ready to breathe out, curl and arch the back. And then we'll come back to neutral, and we're going to do a few versions of side plank today. So I'm going to start keeping that right knee bent, and I'm going to, you can see, make a little kickstand. So I'm going to bring that right foot back behind me. So starting here, we'll just stretch that left arm straight up. And then stretch that left arm overhead. So really gentle side plank. Getting a nice stretch for the side body here. Left elbow by the left ear. And then we're going to come down to the forearm here. And then once again, stretching up. See what you feel in the outer left hip here. And then if you'd like to try challenge, coming into star, still down on that arm. And then release. So I'm just going to unwind everything back to center and pull back into child's pose. Relax that forehead on your block or a pillow on your mat and just kind of rolling the head side to side. A few big breaths, a few big exhales here. And just let everything go. And then we'll come back up and start with the left leg. So coming into our table, I'm going to do this backwards so you'll see my back this time. You'll see it from behind. So starting with that left leg, make a little kickstand here. My left hand is centered. Stretching that right leg back, right arm reaches straight up for the sky. So take a breath or two here. And then stretching and reaching that right arm overhead. Right pinky toe side of the foot is grounding down, and I'm reaching with that right arm, stretching the whole right side of my body. And then right arm comes back up. I'm going to come down onto that left forearm and just hold it here. You could stretch that right arm overhead again if that feels good. And then maybe lifting that right leg into the air. So pull the belly into the spine here. So it's like a modification of the star pose that we usually do. And then release, leg comes down. Unwind everything back to center, pull back again, child's pose. Relax the head, and circle the wrists again. And just allowing the body to be still. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, just breathe. Just taking a few rounds of intentional breaths before we move on. Taking a big breath in through the nose, big long exhale. Again, big breath in through the nose, and big long exhale. And then we'll start to make our way back up. Coming back to table with knees right under those hips and wrists right under the shoulders, and circle the hips here. Lubricating the hip joints, circling it around. So we try to circle all the wrists and lubricate all our joints. And we did the wrists, we did the ankles, we did the shoulders, and now we're just circling gently those hips around and around. Switch it up, circle the other way. Exhale each time you pull back and the belly's contracted. And then release. Coming back to center, we're going to lift up to down dog. So if you have any wrist issues and down dog is too much, you can always do dolphin and come down to the forearms. Definitely not easier, than down dog, just different. So tucking those toes, I'll stretch my hips up, relax the head here. So shake that head, yes and no. Let me see if we can let those heels drop towards the mat. So really good for the neck here to just let that head relax and hang. And we let the weight of the head create some space and length in the neck and the cervical spine. So let's come up to our tippy toes and then release. Heels come down. Again, up to tippy toes, lift the heels, and then releasing heels downward. So no worries that the heels don't touch the ground. We're just lifting and lowering the heels here. Knees are soft. And then find a comfortable place for your down dog, and we'll walk our dog, bending left knee, straightening the right. And then switch, bend that right knee, straighten the left. So nice and slow here, alternating sides. And we're going to come into a one-armed down dog. We haven't done this in a while. So I'm going to ground my left hand, fingers are spread nice and wide, and then my right hand is going to reach for that left ankle. Maybe it reaches that left knee, the left calf. So we're building bone here in that left arm. And now switch. Right arm comes down. Left arm will reach for that left ankle, left shin, left knee, left thigh, wherever you can reach. A breath or two here. And then release back to our down dog. We'll drop those knees. We'll come to a wide knee child's pose this time. So we'll bring the big toes together. Knees come to the outer edges of the mat. And just stretch it out here. Circle the wrists again or shake them out. Take a few breaths. And then nice and slow. We're going to make our way up. Coming back through table pose, we're going to come up to stand. So however that feels safe for you, feel free to use your chair nearby or the wall, or you can come with me tucking the toes, lifting those hips, and nice and slow, bending those knees. I'm going to walk my hands back. And nice and easy, come up to stand, roll those shoulders back and down. So take your time getting set up and standing. We're going to come to a standing eagle pose for our balance today. So we did eagle on our back. So feel free, eagle is a really challenging pose. Feel free to modify, feel free to use your wall or your chair nearby for balance. But we'll start with a few sun breaths. So feet are hip width apart, stretching those arms up, breathing in. Big exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat, long spine. Soften the knees, roll back down. Come all the way up to stand. Inhale up. Exhale, arms to the side. We'll do two more. Inhale up. Exhale, swan dive forward, soft knees. Breathe in, flat back. Breathe out, roll forward. All the way back up to stand. Inhale up. Palms together, exhale, arms to your side. One more. Inhale up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, hands to shins. Exhale, fold. All the way up. Inhale up, breathe in, palms together. And this time just lowering those hands in front of the heart. Close the eyes and take a few breaths here. few rounds of deep, intentional breaths. Big breath in through the nose, into that low belly, and then a big long exhale. So let's come into our eagle pose this time. I'll open the eyes, release those arms, and I'm going to ground my right foot. And my left leg will come up in the air, and I'm going to cross that left leg over the right. So for some people, you may be able to wrap that left foot back behind you. So you can come and just sit here into a chair. So we're working on balance, and it's a big stretch for the outer hip. And then if you'd like to come into full eagle, arms come out to the side, and then the left elbow comes under the right, and we sit. So feel free to just do half and use just the lower body, holding on to something, or full eagle. And then nice and slow, release out, inhale up. Woo, exhale down. Stretch and open everything that we just had all coiled up. Breathe in, exhale. One more time, inhale up. And exhale down. Shake everything out. We'll switch sides. So this time grounding that left foot, pulling the belly in, starting to put the weight into that left leg, and then lifting that right leg, crossing it over. And so maybe you notice one side, you can wrap a little bit farther than the other side. So sitting down into your eagle here, into our chair pose. And then again, optioned, if you're doing eagle arms, out to the side. And then wrapping that right elbow underneath the left. Take a breath or two here. If you have eagle arms, see if you can lift those arms up high. Belly's pulled in to help you balance wherever you are. Nice and slow, release out. Both feet come down, inhale up, and exhale. Again, breathe in, stretch it up. Exhale down. One more time, inhale up. Palms together and lower those hands down in front of the heart. Checking in again, see what you notice. Maybe the heart rate has picked up. The breathing has picked up a little bit. Just checking in for a quick body scan. Noticing how those legs feel. And a big long exhale. And then we'll open the eyes and release. So we'll do one more standing balance. We're going to come into a high lunge. So feel free to use your strap on this. So I'm going to step that right foot forward. Big step back with the left foot. I'm going to bend into my front right knee, and then maybe you can see I'm on the ball of that back foot for high lunge. So if it feels safe, you can have those arms back behind the body and use the strap here. And if it doesn't, you can just work on your lunge with your hands on your hips or holding onto that chair in front of you. So I'm going to try and sink down a bit here. My left knee is soft. My belly's pulled in. And then we're just going to work on opening the chest a bit since we just closed it doing our eagle. So I'm just going to let the arms come off the back of the body just a bit. And then I'm going to lift and open that heart, little baby back bend. Relax the shoulders here. Pull the belly into the spine. And then nice and slow. Releasing out, however it feels safe. I'm going to put my weight on my right leg just a bit here and step forward. Shake those legs out. And we'll switch sides. So this time the right leg, the left leg will be forward. Big step back with the right foot. So I'm coming on to the ball of my right foot in the back, starting to bend into that front left knee, pulling the belly in to protect and stabilize. And then again, your choice. If you'd like to repeat, have that strap back here. Lift and open that heart. A breath or two here. Relax those shoulders. If this is too much, you could also come into cactus arms, or just have those arms outstretched to a T. Nice and slow, starting to come forward, and nice and easy. Step out, shake out those legs. We'll inhale, both arms up. Exhale down. Inhale it up. Exhale down. One more time. Inhale up, palms together. Exhale, lower those hands in front of the heart. Close the eyes for just a few breaths here. Intentional breathing. Shut down that stress response. And then opening the eyes. So we'll just do one more side stretch before we come back down. We'll take a big wide stance here, whatever feels safe for you. I'm pulling my belly in and pointing that tailbone straight down towards the ground, and my feet are facing forward towards my screen. Inhaling those arms out to the side. And then I'm just going to slide that right arm down that right leg. Side lean here. Belly's pulled in, protecting the low back. And that left hand, looking at the lines on the palm of my left hand. So reaching and stretching here down the side of the body. A few breaths here. Using those obliques, the muscles on the side. Come back to center. Inhale, both arms up. And exhale. Sliding left this time. And if it's okay for the neck, looking up towards that right palm. Taking a breath or two here. Inhaling, both arms up to center, and exhale, forward fold. And come down to your blocks at any setting. Come high, medium, low, or the hands can come all the way down to the ground. And once again, just a little gentle inversion. We let the head come down just below the heart. Any issues with dizziness or vertigo or medication that you're not supposed to be upside down, and you can just be stretching here in a forward fold, and you keep that head up. So if you're letting go here, just shaking that head, yes and no. Big stretch for the back of the legs here. Checking out the hamstrings. Come into a little twist. We'll ground that left hand down, turn and twist and open to the right. Take a breath or two here. Exhale, release right arm down. And then when you're ready, turning, twisting, breathing into the left. Exhale, release down. One more time, just let that head kind of hang. And then we'll start to make our way back up, inching, softening the knees, inching those feet together. And then when you're ready, nice and easy, coming all the way up, rolling those shoulders back and down. So let's make our way down. Once again, taking your time, and if you prefer, you can do your relaxation sitting, of course. But if you'd like to come down with me, pulling the belly into the spine, and nice and easy, releasing down. One vertebrae at a time. Come down nice and slow. Stretch those legs. Inhale, arms overhead, big full body stretch. And exhale, hug both knees into the chest. Rock side to side. So yogi's choice here. You could come into a happy baby. Or you could bring the bottoms of the feet together and let those legs open just like the pages of a book. Let's see if I can show it this way. Or you can come into any pose right here that feels restorative and relaxing for your body. Wherever you are, see if you can shimmy the shoulder blades underneath the back and open the chest. Closing the eyes and checking in with the breath and the rise and the fall of the chest and the belly. Taking any final movements that feel right here for you. If you'd like to stay here in this pose, if it feels restful, feel free. Or if you'd like to release out into Shavasana, whatever that looks like for you, feel free to just find any comfortable pose to relax. And you could always put your pillow or your bolster underneath the knees. You can come into astronaut pose if you have a chair or couch nearby. Hook those legs up. Or legs up the wall, show here. So take a few moments here to let everything go. We've worked hard today. Giving our bodies a chance to just be still. And it's believed here in Shavasana that we can energetically absorb all the benefits of all the practices, of all the poses that we did. So let your breath happen naturally here. Relax the head, neck, and shoulders down. Relax down the muscles of the back. Relax the glute muscles and the hamstrings if there's any gripping. Soften the hands. If few moments here in silence and stillness. True presence requires that we be attentive to what is happening here and now in the present moment. It is an offering of our awareness, our participation, and our willingness to be present, to connect with others. Our presence is a basic and profound courtesy. And in this stillness of presence, we also discover ourselves, our actual presence to the life in us and around us. And so, in the comfort of your own home, feel free to stay in Shavasana and relaxation longer. But if you're ready to come out, starting to bring some movement back in, wiggling fingers and toes, hugging the knees in and rocking side to side. And nice and slow, whenever you're ready, you can roll onto the side of the body and just kind of curl up for a few breaths. And then eventually making your way back up to sit. And bringing the hands together in front of the heart. Closing the eyes and just bowing the head. Thanking your body for all its hard work today and for showing up for a bit of stillness and self-care. And closing our practice, as always, with our loving kindness meditation. May you be happy. May you be healthy in body and mind. And may you be filled with a sense of ease. And namaste.